Hello there, World of Takers, and welcome to the channel. I'm your host, Droodles Blitz, and in today's video, we are breaking into huge changes coming into the next update for World of Tanks Blitz. We have the new line being confirmed, the Rinoceronte, coming out next update, which is really cool. The Rhino looks great. I can say that it is quite a solid vehicle, at least from when it was tested, but we'll have to see how the vehicle plays once it does get released. Making our way down to the major important things to talk about, we have big changes to consumables and massive changes to equipment. People that love running gun rammer, well, you might not be running it as much after the latest changes in the game. So we are going to start off with the consumable changes. I'll voice my opinions on them, and then we'll make our way down to equipment changes. You guys can let me know in the comments what you guys think. My personal opinion, before we even break into any of these changes, is I don't think equipment or consumables should be changed. I think maybe a couple could be reworked here and there, but changing every single one just because you can doesn't make sense to me. Because there's a lot of people that are going to get a lot of confusion when it comes to these changes. They're not going to understand what's going on. Why is my tank changing? Why are my consumables changing? I don't fully agree with this. There's a lot of people that don't pay attention to the game, don't pay attention to these changes, and they're just going to hurt them in a way that is a little unfair. So that's my personal view. I don't know what everybody's going to think in the comments, but let me know. So let's start off with consumables. Repair kit will get a decrease of 15 seconds on its overall cooldown. Currently, repair kit sits at a 78-second cooldown. So we can take a look. We can see 78 seconds on multi-use restoration, 78 seconds on basically every single consumable, except for like engine power boost, but that's useless, so I don't even care about that. Adrenaline and reactive have a 65-second cooldown. So if we make our way back over to the consumables here, 78 seconds is going to go down to around, what, 65 seconds? That's actually quite a big buff to repair kit, and I think is actually completely fine. First aid kit is also getting the same decrease of 15 seconds, and automatic fire extinguisher is actually getting a 20-second decrease. So these are all quite nice buffs. However, multi-use restoration is getting a 10-second increase, so it's going from 78 to 88 seconds. So I don't really think these are going to change any much gameplay that much, to be honest. I'm still going to be running consumable delivery system because multi-use restoration is like the most important of the bunch, and judging that its cooldown is getting even longer, it's going to be pretty painful to use. But oh well, I don't think these are going to be that big of a noticeable change. It's just a couple seconds here and there between them. When it comes to a new equipment, there's a free engine power boost added to all tanks. When activated, it will provide a 10% increase in engine power with a duration of 10 seconds and a reload of 70 seconds. Now, I don't know what this means. Does that mean it's automatically on your tank that you're able to use whenever you want in-game? Or does that mean that you still have to choose it over automatic fire extinguisher, first aid, repair kit? We will have to see. Hopefully, you have to choose it because, I don't know, I just don't want another button I have to press while I'm playing the game. It's not going to be as hard for me because I play on PC right now, but it's definitely going to be a bit more challenging for mobile players to press one button, then another button. I don't know. We'll see. But either way, it is nice that Wargaming is adding a free consumable. I'm not sure how much of a change this will bring, but okay. Improved engine power boost is getting 5% less engine power, 1 kilometer per hour less top speed, and 2 kilometers per hour less reversing. Reload time will decrease by 25 seconds. So the reload time decrease is huge. That's going to allow the tank to obviously constantly be able to move faster. Like if we make our way over to super speed, we got to find a tank that has it first of all. And what tank? The E3 has it, I'm pretty sure. Yes, it does. So if we go over to the E3, right now the cooldown is 78 seconds. So if it's getting 20 seconds off, it's going to be 58 seconds. So we'll just say about a minute to reload it. And its top speed is going from 5 to 4. Its reverse is going from 10 to 8. And its engine power is losing 10%, was it? So it's going from 40%. Oh no, it's losing 5%. So it's going from 40 to 35%. So it's not the biggest changes. I honestly think the reload time decrease by 25 seconds is going to be much bigger than the slight nerfs that it's getting to its overall speed and everything. I think it's going to be quite good in that regard. Adrenaline, bonus to weapon reload speed, will decrease by 3%. Duration and reload time will increase by 5%. I don't think this is going to mean really anything happens, to be honest. I mean, every single player runs Adrenaline, right? So, for the most part, if everybody's running the same consumable, it's going to mean that everybody has the same decrease in DPM and everything. So I don't really see much of a change here when it comes to Adrenaline. I don't really care. It's just, it's getting a little bit longer duration and a little bit less DPM. Not that big of an issue. Reticle calibration, bonus to aiming time and dispersion will decrease by 10%. I'm actually happy this is happening. I think Reticle Cali is way too overpowered. I do not like the fact that an M6Yo can activate it and slap you across the map for 900 instantly. So that's fine. Duration and reload time will increase by 5 seconds. Okay, that's not really much of a change, so that's fine. Reticle Cali is definitely a busted one, though. Tungsten rounds, duration will decrease by 5 seconds. The reload time will decrease by 20 seconds. That's huge. The reload time decreasing doesn't really matter when it's coming back 20 seconds faster. You're basically shaving off 5 seconds to gain 15. That's a dub and a half. So tungsten's going to be even better, and it's already amazing. Shell reload boost, duration will increase by 5 seconds, and the reload time will decrease by 10 seconds. So just a flat buff to shell reload boost. However, I don't really see much of a change when it comes to at least the duration of it. Like, do you really need 20 seconds to dump your clip that only takes 4 seconds to dump? No. So I don't really see much of a change in that regard. Don't really care. The decrease in time, though, is going to be quite nice. Reactive armor will be 7% more effective at reducing damage. What? Reactive already reduces 20%, so that means it's going to reduce 27% now. So if you're in a E100, and let's pretend it had reactive, and you get shot for 1,000 damage by a 183. Well, with 20% less, you would receive 800 instead of 1,000. With 27%, you're receiving 270 HP less. So instead of him rolling 800, he'd roll like 770. That's crazy. No, it wouldn't be 770, it'd be 730. That's insane. So yeah, the reactive armor consumable is going to be crazy good, and it is going to allow people to just dominate in the matchmaker. What the heck? But the good news is the Chieftain Mark 6 is losing reactive. I'm kind of glad about that because the Chieftain is already an incredible tank, and I feel like that would have pushed it over the edge. The FE2 and 5B Conqueror, all the tech trees are also losing all the British tech tree heavies, I should say, are losing reactive armor, which is good, although I don't fully like that because I think the 2 and 5B really needed reactive in certain situations to do well. It's not the end of the world, but I personally would have liked if the tank kept its reactive armor, but oh well. The Chimera's losing reactive, thank God. That's actually a huge change, which I'm glad about. On the other hand, certain tanks will be getting buffed consumables, so the Japanese and French tank destroyers and the French tech tree heavies will be receiving consumables, which we'll be talking about in just a second. Making our way over to Illustrator, we can actually see these consumables. So the AMX-50B gets reactive. Why? I don't know. That's going to be huge. It's basically going to mean you can YOLO in a 50B, you can clip somebody for 1,520 back into cover, and receive 30% less damage. Really bad decision, in my opinion, for wargaming there. The Foch 155 gets gear oil, improved engine power boost, and tungsten shells. Really, it's just gear oil and tungsten that are going to be huge. I don't think you need improved engine power boost on a vehicle that is already super mobile. But holy crap, the Foch with tungsten alone means that you're going to deal about 1,100 to 1,200 damage with your clip. Not only that, but it's the fact that it's getting gear oil, meaning that its reverse speed finally gets buffed. The Foch is going to be incredible, and it's already quite a solid tank destroyer after they've changed its on-movement dispersion. Vickers getting Reticle Cali, who cares, not going to do anything. Ho-Re line gets reactive in sandbags. I don't know why it gets reactive, and that's going to be quite crazy. Sandbags I don't see doing that much for the Ho-Re because it is a TD, but it's still quite nice. British heavy tanks will lose reactive armor. Annihilator loses its improved speed boost. So yeah, that's everything to know. Certain tanks will get corresponding consumables in the next update. So the T-44-100 will get improved engine power boost, reactive armor, tungsten, and Reticle Cali. The ISU-130 will get tungsten. That's huge. It's also going to get Reticle Cali and improved engine power boost. WZ-110 is getting improved engine boost, reactive armor, and tungsten shells. Why? I don't know. The IS-2, which is absolutely dookie, is getting the same. T-25 Pilot 1 is getting all of the reactive and everything. Panther 88's getting, again, the same as the WZ-110, so improved engine power, reactive armor, tungsten. Panther 88 not Panther 88, sorry, E25 is getting tungsten shells. What? That's gonna be crazy. FE201, tungsten shells. Again, that's Black Prince DPM on a vehicle that's getting reactive and tungsten. What the heck? And the Panther M10. I don't care about the Panther M10, so that doesn't really matter. But the FE201, E25, and honestly, WZ110 are going to be quite incredible, and I'm excited to see how the ISU 130 and T44 100 are going to be after this change. That's a lot of news, though, just for the consumables alone. Personally, I don't think these changes are going to be that big. The only one that's really massive is reactive. Personally, I don't think they should go through with that. I think they should leave reactive the way it is, but I guess we'll have to see. Now let's talk about equipment, and this is where things get a little bit crazy and rambunctious when it comes to the update. Gun Rammer is going to be getting nerfed by 2% on its overall advantage of DPM. So previously, Gun Rammer would have a 7% boost, now it's a 5% boost in DPM. Not only that, but Calibrated is getting a massive buff. Right now, Calibrated Shells gives you a pretty solid buff, but once we load into the garage here, we can showcase exactly what it is. On Calibrated, it is a 5% buff to AP and APCR, and a 10% buff to high explosive and high explosive anti-tank, which is heat. So if we make our way back over to Discord here, we can see that Calibrated Shells is getting an 8% buff from what was 5, so it's getting 3% more pen on AP. The APCR is staying the same. Heat is getting a massive 3% buff, and HE is getting a slight 2% nerf. But the fact that AP and Heat are getting 3% buffs is huge. That means, for example, the 5A, which previously would have had around 333 mils of heat, is now going to have around 340 mils of heat pen. It means vehicles like the 113 are going to be sitting upwards of about 390 mils of heat, and tanks like the YAG with Calibrated will have literally enough pen to just butter through everything. So Calibrated Shells is going to be an absolutely massive buff. And when you look at Gun Rammer getting a nerf, it just solidifies even more in my mind why I will be sticking with Calibrated. I don't know what else to say. Personally, I don't agree with these changes. I think buffing pen is going to change the balance of armor, but that's what Wargaming's doing. Improved Vents for autoloaders is getting a 3% buff to its overall crew mastery. That's not a 3% buff to the way it works, but it's just a 3% buff to crew mastery, so it's not that big. I would still highly recommend to run Calibrated on your autoloaders, especially after the listed changes coming to it. Improved modules will no longer increase the durability of fuel tanks and ammunition rack. It will give 20% track durability and 40% to the reduction of ramming damage. This is interesting, but I think defense system is just flat better. The chance to avoid crew injuries will improve by 7%, and ammo rack detonation by 18%. So I don't really see much of a reason to run improved modules when defense system seems to be quite a bit better. Maybe if you're running an E50M, run improved modules, but it doesn't say you deal more damage, it just says you deal less to yourself in ramming. So Improved optics. The final increase in view range will be 11% for light tanks, 8% for mediums, 6% for heavies, and 4% for tank destroyers. That is fine with me. I think light should have the most view range. I think mediums should have the next highest, heavies, and then obviously TDs shouldn't get really any view range because they're tank destroyers, and they shouldn't be spotting. They should be shooting off of what other people spot. Camouflage net will be the opposite, though. So for heavy tanks, it's obviously going to be bad. For mediums and lights, yeah, but tank destroyers is where it's huge. Camo net is going to give a 10% buff to camo on TDs, and when stationary it will double, so it'll be a 20% boost to tank destroyers if they're sitting still, where it's only a 4% boost to heavies. So that's going to be absolutely massive, and it's going to change a lot of tanks' capabilities when it comes to camouflage. Improved V-stabs is going to gain 1 degree of gun elevation. Who cares? Doesn't really matter. Improved suspension is going to be getting nerfed. Overall, improved suspension gives a 25% buff to terrain crossing capacity. It is now going from 25% on all terrain to 20% on hard, 15% on medium, and 30% on soft. Like, the soft is great. If you're driving through water, you'll be faster than before, but only by 5%. However, you're going to be losing 10% of your overall mobility on medium terrain, which is dirt and sand, literally every map, essentially. So yeah, the Type 71 is going to be a little bit slower, but it's not a huge issue. I think the tank will still be good. This is more going to nerf the VK72, which is fine with me because I think that vehicle is kind of stupid right now. Enhanced gun laying drive will get a 5% boost in its aiming time, so it's going from 10% to 15%. Supercharger shell velocity will improve by 5%, and the bonus for the decrease of armor penetration with distance will improve by 10%. So Supercharger is getting better and Enhanced Gun Laying Drive is getting better. I would still recommend Enhanced Gun Laying Drive for the majority of tanks you drive, unless it's a vehicle with very bad AP and APCR pen. Enhanced Armor, the bonus to armor will be reduced by 1%. So right now Enhanced Armor gives you a 4% buff to armor. Next update, it will be a 3% boost. Improved Assembly, the bonus amount to durability will be reduced by 2%. So right now, Improved Assembly gives you 6% extra HP. It's going to be 4% next update, and Enhanced Armor is going from 4% to 3%. Personally, I think it's a no-brainer that Improved Assembly is better than Enhanced Armor now, because you're going to have more HP, and Enhanced Armor just 3%, really? That's barely a buff, so a little disappointing, but not the end of the world. Improved Control, the bonus to hull traverse speed will be increased by 1%. An Engine Accelerator, the final bonus to engine power will be 4% for mediums and lights, 5% for heavies and tank destroyers. So not much of a change there, to be honest. All of these are pretty basically the same. V-Stabs is getting a decent nerf. It is going from 15% on move to 12%. But Refined Gun is getting a buff, going from 10% to 15% better accuracy. So I still think V-Stabs in most situations is better, I'm going to be honest. Even though there is a buff to Refined and a nerf to V-Stabs, V-Stabs still makes it more accurate on the move, which means if you're driving a medium or a light, it's still basically mandatory to run V-Stabs, but it will be interesting to see how this 5% buff works for Refined. I will definitely be messing around with it and letting you know my opinions. Enhanced Tracks, we will make the description clear, okay, so nothing's changing. Toolbox, the bonus module repair speed will be reduced by 10%, unfortunate. Consumable Delivery System, the bonus to reload speed will decrease by 3%. Not much of a change. High-end consumables, the bonus duration will increase by 3%. So that's actually nice. 3% longer, maybe like an additional second or two. Either way, these are all the changes to equipment. Do I agree? No. I don't think Calibrated should get buffed. I don't think Gun Rammer should get nerfed. I think it's good the way it is. I'm not mad if they do, because I always run Cali. It's not going to be a problem for me at all, but it's definitely going to be a problem for people like Fatness who absolutely love Gun Rammer and utilize it to their capabilities. The rest of the changes, not too much. Camo Net's going to be interesting. Improved optics will be interesting. I personally don't have the biggest problem with any of these changes. I just don't think that Wargaming should be changing equipment and consumables when the mass majority of their player base don't understand what is going on in the game. I just don't think it is a properly good decision. So let me know in the comments down below what you guys think. Do you agree? Do you disagree? What do you think should happen to these consumables and equipment? Personally, the only thing I've ever wanted to have happen to the consumables and equipment in this game is that Engine Accelerator gets turned into Turbocharger and Improved Control stays the same. I would much rather have an increase in top speed by maybe like 2 kilometers, 3 kilometers per hour running Engine Accelerator, and then you get better power to weight and maybe traverse speed with Improved Control. That's what I think, but let me know in the comments what you guys think. Either way, hopefully you enjoyed today's video. And if you'd like to see more like it, please consider smashing that subscribe button down below. Let me know in the comments what you think. Bye-bye.